Thank you, Prashant and Dinesh. Actually, I had to come from the managing committee, therefore, pardon me for coming late slightly. So, this talk is primarily on infection in the eye. And all of you know, by definition, endophthalmitis means infection or inflammation of the inner coats of the eyeball with exudation into vitreous cavity, because vitreous exudates are a must for diagnosis of endophthalmitis. I am starting with the one case. I had operated this patient sometimes back, a simple looking surgery, ILM peeling had to be done, and this was the situation on day 1. You see, day 1, if you get a picture like this, to an operating surgeon, it is a maddening effect, because for no fault of his sometimes this thing can happen. But what I'm trying to say is, so at this time I thought glow and I thought it may be inflammatory, which I think was a blunder at that time. Day 2, post-operative day, this picture worsened like this, and on day 2 itself, I remember this was a Saturday, we gave interval injection and then saw him next day. You see the cornea became slightly clearer, hypopyon settled down, cornea became clearer, fundus still details were not there. We continued on the medical management, and this was picture next day, glow became slightly better. Even if you see on retro, the glow is slightly better. Now next day, this was the gas which we had injected in the macular hole surgery, small incision surgery. You could see the vessels. So this patient is now on the path to recovery. So this was after a few days, you could see the entire retina, and fortunately for me, the hole also closed and vision returned. So what did we learn from this? That if on the post-operative day, day 1 or day 3, you have obscuration of glow with diminution of vision, suspect infection. Do not wait. Institute intravitreal antibiotic therapy immediately. If you lose, believe me, day 1 also, like believe me, I lost one day. But on the second morning, as soon as I saw first patient, immediately gave the injection. And that saved this eye. Saved this eye, the whole, everything recovered. Fortunately for me, hole closed and vision came to 6/9 in this patient. So, endophthalmitis can happen to anybody. Any person who operates. People who don't operate, they obviously will not get. People who do only medical retina, they will not get. So, people who operate, believe me, they can get, despite you're doing the best. Even one case, believe me, is stressful, you see. And if you have series of cases, God forbid, the entire family, my entire family come to know, ye sab matlab udas ho gaye hain, they are unhappy now, but something wrong, and you have to close your theater. So this happens to a person who operates. So, as I said, intravitreal antibiotics today, do not keep trying cycloplegics and steroids and this thing for a long time. Mainstay is antibiotics in the vitreous cavity. वो जरूरी है. So this is the initial management, and results are good, as I have written here, if you do early and you are lucky that organism is sensitive, because initial treatment is always empirical. We do KH staining, we send material for culture sensitivity. That also is very, very important, because if you don't send, and if eye is not behaving properly, you can be sued in court of law. So you have to send material for culture sensitivity also. And the best way to send material culture sensitivity is vitreous biopsy. If you can't do vitreous biopsy or not familiar with vitreous biopsy, then you can do aqueous paracentesis also. But aqueous paracentesis, the problem is that the yield is less, because the infection is in the vitreous cavity. So therefore, if you have vitreous biopsy or vitreous sample, the possibility of having a microbiological report is high. But the reason I do not propagate too much vitreous biopsy is that people may not be familiar with that procedure. And I do not want anybody putting a needle and pulling the vitreous, because if you pull the vitreous, it can be disastrous. So therefore, for a comprehensive ophthalmologist or people who are not familiar with biopsy, a simple paracentesis is good enough. And the reason we want to decompress is because we have to inject 2 antibiotics. Because sometimes we may not be very clear whether it is positive or negative gram-positive. So empirically, world over, everybody injects vancomycin and ceftazidime. These are the 2 empirical antibiotics all of us inject. And if you are suspecting fungal, then you put in voriconazole. So results, as I said, are pretty good in mild to moderate patients, mild to moderate cases, and if they are picked up early. Vitrectomy, if the load is very high, or if vision has PL plus minus kind of stuff, or if it's the only eye, then you try to do vitrectomy. And the threshold of vitrectomy has decreased quite a bit. Now, in this era of microincision vitreous surgery, we do not give multiple vitreous intravitreal injections. As if the patient does not respond to one injection, we start preparing the patient for a vitreous surgery. So this is one patient, just to exemplify that this patient was given vanco and ceftazidime. At presentation, this was the picture on the upper left corner. And after interval vanco and cefta, very important thing is to follow up, and follow up virtually every day. And a smile on the face of the patient will tell you that this patient is doing well, because his pain will go down first, and then the synechia breaks, glow starts coming, and vision improvement takes a couple of days. So you have to tell the patient, don't expect dramatic recovery of vision in first few days. So it takes time. So like this patient took nearly 2-3 weeks, but believe me, I followed this patient every day, took photograph also, just to show to the patient relatives that glow is coming and you're not going down the hill. But every time you may not be lucky. Like this patient was being treated elsewhere conservatively. Conservatively means all sorts of treatment, including drops, injections, subconjunctival injections, but no proper treatment, which is injection at the place of infection. So this patient came to us. So we were, no interval had been given. Cornea was not so good, and hypopyon was like this. He had a eventful surgery. You can see this ACIOL here. That means there was some problem during surgery also. So I still gave him antibiotic, because till the time, prepare the family also for undergoing vitreous surgery. So fortunately for me, this patient recovered only with interval antibiotic. So if the patient has not been given, there is no harm in trying interval antibiotic. And this patient did, the cornea also cleared, and you can see the fundus here. So this was long time back. See, when I was in RP center, we had done this study. At that time, only 30% of patients were receiving proper treatment. Rest were being managed by other means. So when is vitrectomy required for this infection? So vitrectomy is required when the patient does not respond to the first interval injection, or there is a poor response. Organisms are not sensitive. Second is when this is very severe endophthalmitis. Severe endophthalmitis by definition means vision is PL plus minus, and on ultrasound exudates, or vitreous cavity is full of exudates, or the exudates are extending up to the retinal surface or up to the ciliary body area. That means the entire cave. Why we call it severe is because the possibility of response by interval injection may not be as great, because the load of infection is very high. You can try intravitreal, but mentally start preparing. Or in post-traumatic, especially two conditions. One is patient has a foreign body that you in any case have to go inside and remove the foreign body. But post-traumatic are severe also. Most of the post-traumatic are polymicrobial organisms. So here possibility of interval antibiotic working alone is not as high as in post-operative. Fungal endophthalmitis. You see, today we have voriconazole and other azole derivatives, plus amphotericin B also is there. But by and large, in our experience, fungal endophthalmitis requires multiple vitreous surgeries. It's very difficult to eradicate the vitreous cavity of, you may be lucky, you can still try, but in our experience, fungal by and large end up doing multiple vitrectomies, not one, not two. The other indication of vitrectomy is recurrent. That means you treat, again it comes back, you treat, again it comes back, or a chronic endophthalmitis, where the suspicion generally, we have been taught, is Propionibacterium acne. This organism resides around in the capsular bag. So therefore, routine intravitreal will not work. If you give injection of vanco in the vitreous cavity, probability is not very high it will work. So you have to inject vancomycin within the capsular bag, which you can do either limbal route or by intravitreal route. Or sometimes you have to do a vitreous surgery, do a capsulectomy, so that the interval antibiotic can gain access into the bag. And if it does not respond, the third tier of management is that you take out the IUL, take away entire bag. So first is give injection in the bag. Second is do a vitrectomy and irrigate antibiotic in the bag. And third is remove the IOL and do a total bag removal. Or if there is associated CD or RD, because you have to go inside. So therefore this forms another indication of doing vitrectomy. Or if it reoccurs again and again. So these are 5-6 situations where vitrectomy is required or necessitated in patients of postoperative endophthalmitis. And vitrectomy, as we have been saying, could be conservative or like a core vitrectomy, or it could be a radical kind of vitrectomy. The core vitrectomy generally helps in mild to moderate cases, and or if there are after the first intraocular injection there are vitreous opacities, you may have to do core vitrectomy. But if the infection is very severe, and as I told you, definition of severe is PL plus minus vision, exudates extending up to the retina or ciliary body. In such situations, core vitrectomy will not work. So you have to do a depression vitrectomy, sometimes peel off the hyalid also, and do a total vitrectomy with silicone oil sometimes. Because if you do a conventional core vitrectomy, in fact, I would wish that core vitrectomy term now should not be used at all. Core vitrectomy is because whenever you enter into vitreous cavity, you tend to do a near total job. So I'll just show a couple of videos. This is a patient where we started to do vitrectomy, and there are some issues which initially budding surgeon may face, that we insert this cannula and the tip is not visualized. So we depress in this hypotenuse, still not seen. So what do you do in such situation? So we make another port. This time the port is straight because the ciliary body or the choroid is thick in these eyes. So we make a straight entry. Possibility of gaining access into the vitreous cavity is high. So you tend to press and remove the material around this probe. So you can see now the tip of the probe. So you have to clean this area so as to then only you can turn on the infusion. Or you can do a needle injection. That means you have a ringer lactate or BSS in the needle, inflate the eye so that the tension builds up, and after that put in the trocar cannula straight. You see, in endophthalmitis eyes, normally we advocate, instead of doing a two-plane entry, go straight, because then especially in severe endophthalmitis, especially where you can't see, because the path will be straight and possibility of its having intravitreal access to the fluid will be higher. And in the vitrectomy, the first job always is to clean up the anterior chamber. You can't start doing vitrectomy or take the probe and start eating up the vitreous. Because if the anterior chamber, or if there is a membrane on the surface of IOL, you will not be able to do a good job. Because vitreous surgery, you can do good vitreous surgery if you see. You have to see the vitreous. So here what I am doing is, you insert this AC maintainer, you make a stab incision here, put some visco to protect the endothelium, then with the help of the bent 26 gauge needle, tease off over the surface of IOL. And you will be surprised, in a lot of these patients, you get this membrane. And once you remove this membrane, the pupil also dilates somewhat. It is very important to remove this membrane, otherwise you will not be able to see in the vitreous. And then you go inside the vitreous, and then you can see, you can decide to do a radical vitrectomy in this patient. So here the entire AC was full of exudate. So there was no space to enter, like in the last patient we showed, you can put an AC maintainer. Here the chamber was flat. So here what was done was that instead of going from the anterior chamber route, we went from the pars plana route and made a hole in the iris from the pars plana, and from that iridotomy enter into the anterior chamber, remove all this sticky exudates from the surface of iris, from the surface of pupil, and once this is done, you can go inside the vitreous cavity and do the proper job, do indentation vitrectomy. This is indentation being done in all the 4 quadrants. Then do endos iridotomy and put in silicone oil. So there are 2 ways. One is that you take bent needle and go from the AC, or if chamber is flat and the limbus is ectatic, you can't do a good job, then enter from the pars plana, make a hole in the iris, then introduce probe from there and clean up the chamber. So this was another patient who had severe endophthalmitis. This was a patient who had a corneal abscess also. Somebody had removed suture from here, and this led to corneal abscess and then endophthalmitis. So principles are same, that first you clean up the anterior chamber after putting visco and after putting AC maintainer or from the pars plana infusion. Then start dissecting in the pupillary area. Try to remove each bit of this membrane or exudates from the pupillary area. Sometimes, as in this patient, remove the IUL also. This IUL was taken out, and then with the help of cutter, remove all the exudates in the pupillary area. Do not leave behind anything in the anterior chamber, and cut this connection between the corneal abscess and the intravitreal cavity. Suture the wound, then do, as I told, entire 360-degree depression. Do this. This was another patient who had recurrent endophthalmitis. Sorry. In this patient, because the entire vitreous surgery was already done, so only thing which we did was we peeled off the hyaloid. There was a membrane. Beneath this were the accumulation of exudates every time. And this was a proven patient of candida endophthalmitis. You see this colonies like this. And so therefore, if there is a recurrence, so try to peel off membranes even which they are like this. This membrane is then you have access to the behind the membrane, and then you can inject antibiotic and close this case. So this was a patient of post-traumatic endophthalmitis, where we did the steps which I have already told you that in the anterior chamber. At this time, do not rush to remove the foreign body which is here. First, clear this foreign body, clear all these exudates around it, free the foreign body from the retinal surface, because freeing is very important. You can't start dissecting the foreign body, otherwise you will have bleeding or a break formation. Pay attention to the rest of the exudates in the anterior part. You see we do a depression here, so much exudates are here, and after you have satisfied yourself that most of the exudates have been taken out and you are happy, then I injected a PFCL just to stabilize the posterior pole. In foreign bodies, always enlarge the incision, because if you don't, then foreign bodies sometimes will slip. So here we used a rare earth magnet and remove this foreign body. And once this foreign body, if you don't enlarge, sometimes the foreign body will slip at this point and you have to do it again then. So this foreign body came out, and then you do rest of the maneuvers, and that will be the end. So in this patient, the cornea was totally hazy. Sorry. So here you have to take help from the cornea colleague. He does a temporary K-Pro. Remove this button first, because this corneal melt is full of infection here. So this button is being removed, visco injected in between. Once this button is taken out, this is then replaced by temporary keratoprosthesis, and after this is sutured, the vitreous surgeon takes over, inserts this 25 gauge trocar cannula, does a good job in the vitreous cavity, and then remove this temporary kerato. Cornea person comes back again, put this and suture the wound. So this is the hope in this patient. So couple of patients where we had done this, whatever I just described, pre and post-op pictures. This is gram-negative endophthalmitis. This was the patient who underwent radical vitrectomy along with the lens removal. This is immediate post-op pictures. This patient vitrectomy had already been done. So this picture is after oil removal. We had injected silicone oil, and this is after oil removal. This was a patient who had fungal endophthalmitis. This patient did not agree because she already had 2 vitrectomies, but she worsened. Then we did radical vitrectomy with silicone oil. This was the patient who had corneal abscess, which I showed you, and the result of this lady was from PL to 6/24 after 4 weeks. this is silicone reflexes, and corneal abscess is now reduced to corneal opacity. So, in patients who have severe endophthalmitis, as I described 7-8 conditions, which may also include bleb-related endophthalmitis and the other 6 conditions which I told, it is important that we do a radical kind of vitrectomy, sometimes with silicone oil, because silicone oil has the property of compartmentalizing the globe into anterior and posterior segment, and the anterior segment inflammation or infection can be then taken care of by topical, and behind the oil you can take care by the systemic drugs. So if you do such kind of procedures, radical vitrectomy with silicone oil, you can bring the smile back on the patient. A lot of these patients who suffer very severe infection. So keywords always in endophthalmitis are suspect any postoperative reaction, and once there is a high index of suspicion, act immediately early. Because if you do that either by intravitreal antibiotic route, vitrectomy or multiple vitrectomies, this will save a lot of these unfortunate eyes. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Lalit.